Hello friends, welcome to this class, this CSS class. In this class I will teach you everything you need to know about CSS to design nice website, to beautify a website. You see, in our last course I discussed HTML with you guys, and every site makes use of HTML though, but it doesn't look nice with only HTML. Nobody wants to visit a website written with just HTML because it doesn't seem so attractive. So that's why we have CSS, and it stands for cascading style sheet. Okay, um, you have CSS frameworks like Bootstrap. You also have another kind of CSS called Tailwind, the Tailwind CSS, and other styles, languages you can use to design or to style a web page. But I'll be teaching you CSS, and I'll be teaching you CSS 3. This is the course outline for this course, as I'll start from the introduction, and which is what which is what I'm already doing right now. Okay, so you see that I will teach you responsive web design. I will teach you the grid, the flexbox, the media queries, and at the end of everything I'll teach you how to build nav bars. I'll teach you how to build footers, okay, how to build forms, drop downs with CSS. Okay, so let's start. I'm on Visual Studio Code right here. I don't know the kind of editor you might be using, but there are lots of editors there, and I just prefer to use Visual Studio Code. Now in my Visual Studio Code I already have live server, so I'll just open this over. You see, you can, to install live server, what live server does is automatically help you reload the web browser. Okay, see, you just search for live server in this extension over here if you are making use of Visual Studio Code and other Sublime Text. I think there was also live server for that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this file explorer over here and create a new file. I've already opened a folder. To open the folder, you just create a folder in your desktop or to whatever directory you want. And to open the folder, you just come to the file over here and click on open folder. I already have a folder created named CSS tutorial. Okay, so I have my course outline.txt, a text file inside this folder. And then to start with, I will just create a file name index.html, and then I'll create another file called style.css. okay, so I have these two files right now inside my folder. I have the HTML file, I have the CSS file. Okay, so let's just close this bar over here, and then in our index.html we will not be discussing much about HTML in this tutorial, even though we will need HTML. I already taught you guys the basics of HTML in my last class, so if you've not been getting along, you can just check the channel. I think it's a tutorial from part 1 to 6. You can just get it, download them, or watch them online. So okay, so I will put the exclamation factorial, then I'll click. Then I already have my skeletal HTML over here. And going back to our course outline, we talked after introduction, the next thing we have is the CSS inserting. In this HTML tutorial, I said you can insert CSS in 3 ways, and it's still the same thing. It still stands as the same. You can still insert CSS 3 ways, and you have the internal, you have the external, and you have the inline. Okay, the inline is, for example, let's say we have age 1, and we want to say hello world. We are learning CSS. Okay, hello world, we are learning CSS. Let's add an exclamation to that. Hello world, we are learning CSS. Okay, to start it with live server, I will open this bar over here, then I will just right click on it. You see, when you install the live server extension, you can see the option to open with live server. You see that? So I'm going to close this. So to add an inline styling, you add an inline styling by adding a style, by adding the style inside the opening tag of the HTML element. You can have style. I can just say color. Okay, I can say color. and then let's just say we want to do our let's say we want to do RGB 22, okay, no, 221 comma, let's say 105 comma 109. Okay, do you see that? See, that's one way of adding style, but I don't normally use the inline styling as I don't want my code to be rough. But the power in it is that inline styling defies every other kind of styling, whether the internal or the external, because it's the closest to the HTML element. So if I add a style over here and I go to the external file and add and style the same thing, if I add color over there to be, let's say, green, this one is going to override the external one because the inline is more powerful than every other one. But in most cases, I prefer to add my external I prefer to add my styling in an external style sheet just to make the HTML file or the PHP file looks very pure. Okay, so after the inline, we have the external and the internal rather. You can add the internal inside the body tag or inside the head tag. So instead of adding this over here, let's clean the style over here. Oh no, let's leave it. Let's leave it. Then to add that, we just have the style tag. We have the style tag, and in between our style tag, we can say H1 or H1. Let's say we want the font size to be 10 pixel. Let's make it small. You see that it's now smaller. Okay, so the same thing if I copy this out of the body tag and oh no, okay, if I copy this out of the body tag and place inside the head tag here, see, it still just works the same way. So I'm going to leave this in the head tag. Then to add an external styling to our HTML file, what you need to do is come in between this head tag and come beneath this meta tag over here. Just say link href, but before the href, let's add relationship. Let's make it style sheet. Okay, so the href is where the CSS file is located, and I have it inside the same folder with my HTML file. So what I'll just do is just say style.css. So whatever I do here can take effect here. So let's say the same H1. Let's do the same H1, and let's say what can we change now? Let's capitalize it. Let's do text transform. Okay, no, let's make it uppercase. Okay, you see that works. See, it's already take effect. So I'm going to clean all the styling here, because in this tutorial I'll be using the external styling. Okay, let's clean all these over here. Yeah, okay, now we can do whatever, we can add whatever style we want to add. So those are the three ways of adding style to your HTML document. You have the CSS syntax and selector, and this is what the syntax means. You see, inside of my CSS file over here, you have the H1, that's the selector, and then you have the block. So that's what we mean by the syntax, the selector and then the block. Okay, this is the selector, this is the code block or the declaration block. You see that? Okay, and let's do something. What we are going to do now is we are going to copy these. I'll just say Shift Alt arrow down 1 2 3. Okay, and then here I will have, let me reduce the size of this. Okay, Let's say here I'll have hello world. We are learning or no. Let's remove we are learning CSS and put hello world. I am 1. Okay. Then I'll add hello world. I'll add hello world. I am 2. Okay. Then I'll add hello world. I am 3. Hello world. I am 3. Okay. See, we have hello world. I am 1. I am 2. I am 3. The thing is, I selected age 1 and I did text transform to uppercase. You see, everything over here is uppercase because it's going to select all the age 1 inside the HTML document. But at times you don't want to style all the age 1. You just want to style a particular age 1. So what you want to do is you want to identify each of these elements. Okay, you don't want to style all the age 1, maybe a particular age 1. In this case, you are not going to use the tag name, and you can use the tag name is that if that is the only tag that is there that you want to style. I mean, you don't want to style other tags that are not there. So you have age 1. Let's leave that. Let's go to the next one. To identify or to give an identification to an HTML element, you use the class or a ID. And to write the class attribute, what you just need to do is write class. Okay, let's give it a class of 2. Okay, so whatever thing I want to change in this HTML with a class of 2, I'll just come here, and in order to select a class, what you need to do is use the dots and then the name of the class. Okay, so now we have the selector, we have the block, so let's declare. Let's do the same text transform. Let's do the same text transform to lowercase. Okay, do you see that it's age 1? See, notice I didn't change it from age 1. It's still age 1 with a class of 2. And I said, yeah, check every age 1 and make it uppercase. Previously, before adding the class, it was uppercase. But since I added the class, did you see that it changed to lowercase? So it's not just taking the general command, since I now specify how I want to identify it. Okay, so another way of identification is using the ID. I'll just say ID inside my opening tag, my HTML element opening tag. I'll just say ID. I'll just give it the ID of 3. Okay, so I'll come here. In order to select the ID, use the hashtag. Did you see that? Then we write the ID name. Okay, now let me say something. In most cases, I prefer highlighting and selecting whatever class name or ID name I give to my HTML element, because at times I want to write username. I'll just say username. At times I write it like this. At times you can write it like this, depending on how you want to use it. So whatever way you write it, it's better just to copy so as to avoid errors. And you know, at times you don't quickly figure out these errors. So I'll just do Ctrl Z and make it 3. So we are just going to highlight it, copy 3, and instead of writing, we are just going to paste it. Okay, to avoid errors. Then let's say 3. I just want to do the text transform to capitalize. I want to do the text transform to capitalize. Okay, you see it capitalize it. That's every first letter is a capital letter. You see that? Okay, so that's it about HTML. Sorry, that's it about CSS syntax and selectors. Okay, we have CSS colors. We have CSS colors, and in my previous discussion with you guys, I said there are 3 color values. Basically, we have the RGB color value, you have the hexadecimal, and you have the color name. But there is another one I'm going to be adding in this tutorial, which is the RGBA. Okay, it's the red, green, the blue, and the alpha value. Okay, so let's come to our CSS file over here and clean all this. Then let's write a comment. We have the color name. Okay, we have the hexadecimal color value. Okay, after the hexadecimal color value, we have the RGB color value. We have the RGB color value. Then we have the RGBA color value. Okay, so let's get back into our index.html. So let's use the p tag. Select the p tag, and let's say I am a color value. Okay, I am a color value. A few minutes ago, while I was teaching you guys IDs and classes, I didn't stress that IDs and classes are case sensitive. Okay, so if I have an ID, of, let's say, okay, let me say color name. This color name, like this, let me have a comment, and that color name is not equals to color name. Okay, there are two different things, this and this. Okay, so you have to take note of that, and you can also use hyphens and underscores inside your IDs and your class name. So let me copy this down a couple of times. Shift alt down arrow 1 2 3 4. Okay, so let's make use of class here. Let's say class. I think the next one is exile. Let's use ID here. Let's use RGB. Let's use class over here, and let's say RGB here. Okay, so let me zoom out a bit. Let's get back into our style.css. Okay, and let's pick the first one. Let's grab the first one, ID of color name. So I will just say color name, my hash symbol. Then let's give the text a color. Let's say color, and let's see, you have a variety of names. That's why I love Visual Studio Codes. It just makes it simple. It gives you suggestions. Okay, let's say magenta. Or it's not actually magenta. Okay, let's make use of this. You see the color value over here. I am a color. Oh, let's change this from I am a color value to I am a name color value. Or I'm a color name value. Let's just leave it. I am a exile color value. Let's make this I am a exile color value. Let's make this I am a RGB color value, and I am a RGBA color value. Okay, that's so good now. Okay, so let's grab the next one. We gave it a class name of exile, right? So let's scroll up, and we give it a class name of exile. So I will just copy, then my selector, the dot or the full stop, then I'll come here and say color. Now the exile value starts with the hashtag or the hash symbol, and it takes alphabet and number. Okay, so let's say we want to do 2EF1. Okay, I want something bright. 2F1. Let's do 2A. Yeah, look at this right now. Did you see that it takes numbers and alphabets? Okay, so that's exile value, and it's just very flexible. It's exile, the RGB and the RGB are more flexible than the color name. Okay, you can choose a variety of colors with the exile color value. So I don't want this video to be very long, so I'm just going to make a dedicated video on color values. Okay, you understand? I'll make a dedicated video on CSS colors. Okay, because it's quite wide. Okay, so the next one is the RGBA. We have the RGB. Okay, we have the RGB, and then let's do color. Now the RGB, to declare the RGB, you write the RGB, then parentheses, and it takes in three values: the intensity of the red, the green, and the blue. Okay, so and the highest of it is 255, the lowest is 0. So if I make this 0, make this 0, make this 0, make this 0, okay, you see it doesn't change because that's color black. You can see it over here, right? That's color black. The black doesn't take the intensity of any color. So if we do 255, which is the highest, you see it turns to white. If I highlight it, you can see it over here. So let's do 101, let's do 233, yeah, 233, and let's do 94. Okay, you see that light green. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so let's grab the RGBA. The only difference between the RGB and the RGBA is just that the RGBA takes the alpha value, it takes in 4 value, and the fourth one is the alpha. It also takes the red, green, blue value, okay, and then adds the alpha value to it. So let's do the same thing. Let's copy 101. Just want to show you guys something. 101, 233, and then 94. Okay, if I make this 1, you see it's the same thing with this one, and the highest value of the alpha value is 1. Okay, so if I make this 0.5, it reduces the brightness. Okay, did you see? It's the same color, looking like the same color, but it's reducing the intensity. Okay, so if I come to over on this RGBA over here, you see that's why I love Visual Studio Code. This is the alpha value over here. This is the alpha value. If I take it up, did you see that it turns to RGB, just like the RGB over here? Did you see that it turns to the RGB? Okay, so if I over it and come here and bring it to 0.5, you can see it over here. You can see it over here. Okay, so that already changed to, okay, so let's over it. If I drag down, okay, see, I'm already reducing the intensity. Okay, so that's the difference between the RGB and the RGBA. So I'll drop a link in the description of this video so as to go, or yeah, as time goes on, I'm going to do a dedicated video on CSS and HTML colors, okay, because it's quite wide, so I don't want this video to be very long, or we're just discussing only colors. Okay, so the next thing is the CSS backgrounds. So I'm not going to clean the paragraph tags over here, and I will start with the text background, how to add a background to a text. So let's just leave the colors this way. Okay, so let's add a background to this green. Let's add a background of black. Okay, so let's do background color. We'll do background color, and then let's make it ash FFF. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, did you see that? Just add a background color and you write the value. You can use the exile, you can use any color value type, that the exile, the RGB, or the color name. Okay, so if we do color name, it still works. Okay, let's do black. See, it still work. Okay, so if you use the RGB color value, it also still works. Okay, so that's how to add background to a text, or let's say to a div. Let's do a div element. That's like a div container. Now let's say we want to add ID. Want to make the ID want to make the ID div. So let's copy it. Let's copy the ID div, and let's come down here to paste our div. Let's do the width of the div to be 200 pixel. let's do the height of the div to be let's also say 200 pixel. Just make it a square. Okay, so let's do background color. Let's do background color and let's make it black. Okay, so let's scroll down. Okay, did you see that? I already have a div with a background color of black. So if I expand this, let me expand this. Did you see that? Can you see that? Okay, so for your containers, you can also add like the article, the div, whatever container you want to use, the nav. You can also add a background color to it. Okay, so I'm just going to clean this. Okay, so let me teach you background color of to add a background image rather, but before that let me add a background color to the body. And it's good to make it an habit to always add the body tag at the top of the page um, when styling the body. Okay, so I'll just grab the body tag. So when selecting the body tag, we don't add a dot or a hash symbol, we just write the name of the tag. So we have the body tag. Let's make the background of this page, let's make it okay, let's make it f3 f3 f3. Okay, did you see that? Okay, it's not so obvious. Okay, so let's make it something else. Let's use color name yellow green. Okay, did you see that? Oh, other colors look like it. Okay, so we are just going to clean it anyway, but that's also add a background color to your body. Okay, so let me teach you background image before I end this part. Okay, so if you want to add a background image to your body, let me bring this back. You just do background then iPhone image. Okay, do background iPhone image, and then you can say you add your URL, which is going to represent the directory where the image is. So I'll open the sidebar over here. Okay, so inside of my file of my folder, the CSS tutorial folder, I have about.jpg, I have screenshot.png. okay, so let's use the about.jpg. In order to learn 5 parts, if the image is another folder, I'll add a link in the description reference to my HTML tutorial where I taught you guys 5 parts. Okay, so about.jpg. okay, so let me close this. Boom. Yeah. Okay, so you see we already have a background image. Okay, I thought this was going to repeat the background image, but it's not repeating it. Okay, so but I'm going to teach you something, because on some occasions the background image is going to repeat. So if it repeats, if you see the background repeats, you can just do background repeat and you set it to no repeat. Okay, you can set it to no repeat. And then the next background property I want to show you is the background size. You can have the background size, that's also important. You can have the background size, and in the background size you have 2 major value. You can have the cover, you can have the contain. There is also the initial and the inherit, but in CSS, when you are declaring something initial, when you're adding initial as value, you are just saying set the default value of this thing. Okay, why if you are saying inherit, I want you to inherit the size of your parent. I mean, this is what I mean by parents, and we are still getting into that. I'll teach you the trees. Okay, for example, this body is a parent of this p tag. Okay, because this body houses this p tag. Okay, so if I set the p tag size now, let's say I want to set the width, and I said inherit, I'm saying inherit the width of this body. Okay, so I can also have the contain, and when you set to contain, what you're saying is I want you to resize the background image to make sure the image is fully visible. Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, and if you set to cover, in most cases what the cover does, it resizes the background image to cover the entire container. Did you see that? It resizes to contain the entire, or cover the entire container, even if it will have to stretch, okay, the image, or cut a little bit of one of the edges to just make sure it covers the whole page. Okay, then the last property I want to show you for the background is background attachment. There's our background attachment. Okay, and in most cases you can have fixed, you can have scroll. Okay, if you have the fixed, the background is not going to scroll with the page, it's just going to be fixed. Did you see that? As I'm moving this thing, are you noticing that it's only the stuff that is moving, the background is not moving? Okay, so if I add scroll, for example, as I move, as I scroll, do you notice the background also scrolls? Okay, so that's it about adding backgrounds. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, okay, and to ask your questions in the comment box. Thank you. Take care of yourself. See you in my next class. Bye bye.